Hi, everyone. Welcome to Groom A with Humanery. As always, we bring to you experts in the world of skincare, hair care, and other self-care areas. And today we have with us Dr. Rabia Malik, who is both a GP and an aesthetic doctor with an expertise in skin. And her brand Skin W1 is actually featured at Humanery. And today we will learn about Dr. Rabia Malik's story, her brand, and the benefits that the products that she has created will have for you. Dr. Rabia, thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you. And welcome to Groom A with Humanery.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be part of the Humanery platform.
Wonderful. So let's actually start with your story. Can you please tell us a bit about yourself, how you got into this, and how did you get to the point of starting Skin W1?
So it's been a long journey, but I would say I've always had an interest in skin. I'm a traditionally trained medical doctor, went to medical school in London, finished my degree, always had an interest in skin, and actually completed a rotation in dermatology at Johns Hopkins while I was still at medical school. And that really opened my eyes to the field of cosmetic dermatology, which in the UK was pretty non-existent back in the early 2000s. So sort of shelved it, decided I would do general practice training, became a GP, and actually about 40% of NHS GPs consultations are related to skin in some way. So it was a really interesting and, it was a great broad exposure to all sorts of different things, but it really made me think about skin in also a very holistic way. And unfortunately, within the context of the NHS and general practice in the UK, we just had such limited time and resources to really talk about other things that can have an impact on skin, like lifestyle and nutrition and environmental exposure. So these were all things that I was quite interested in. And from an aesthetic point of view, I've always had an interest in products, and I was just constantly disappointed because I'd be buying things and then they never lived up to the hype. And I just thought, this is really disappointing. And I thought, there's got to be a better way. And I felt as a doctor that I wanted something with a scientific sort of approach that would be effective, but still, be aesthetically pleasing. So give good results, be nice to use. And also in terms of the practice of skincare and treating skin conditions, I just wanted to have more time with my patients and have a more holistic approach. And that's really how I then sort of started my own skin practice back in 2011. And for many years, I was, traveling predominantly to the US to train, to find product, and then kind of bringing back everything I found and doing treatments in my clinic. At that time alongside NHS general practice, and the focus of my practice really was skin tone and texture. So I've chosen not to work with injectables. I really focus on skin tone and texture because I think if you have even skin tone and smooth skin texture, that's ultimately going to give the most youthful look. And I think that was something that not many other people were focusing on. So essentially, because I chose a very non-invasive, non-injectable route, but I was really interested in managing skin conditions in a more holistic way, I sort of became, sort of in between a lot of beauticians, therapists, and the more invasive aesthetic doctors who were around. And I think I sort of found my niche in what I think of now as medical beauty. And that's sort of what I've been doing since. And, the practice has grown organically and pretty much all word of mouth. It's very niche because, as you know, this is now a world of injectables, and I don't do that.
Right.
So, it's maybe not for everyone, but I do think that, the quality of your skin, whether you're having injectables or not, is something that is worth working on. In the end, I was working with these amazing, active ingredients in clinic, in treatments. And, I was constantly being asked for the retail version. And 4 years ago, I decided that I would, finally kind of start to make my own version of a product that I could sell. And that's ended up being the Skin W1 Collagen Stimulating Serum, which you guys have on Humanery.
Yeah, and we're very proud to have it. That's such an inspiring story. We actually do want to learn a bit more about the product that your hero product, the Collagen Stimulating Serum. what makes it so special? What does it have, and how did you come up with the right sort of balance in ingredients and efficacy to be able to deliver the results that we know it can deliver?
So I think it's really years of clinical practice and experience in clinic and working with people's skin. I think what makes it different is the high concentration of active ingredients. So a lot of retail product might have some great ingredients, but just a very, very low concentration. And unfortunately, often it's such a low concentration that it's not actually going to make that much difference to your skin. So, sometimes there are active ingredients that are great and they have great scientific properties, but they're actually in a product in very token amounts. And so that for me was also very frustrating, because I think there are some great ingredients we know work, but a lot of retail product was very watered down and quite dilute. And there are also safety reasons around that. I mean, some active ingredients have the potential to irritate skin. So, it's a balance. And I think because of my experience in clinic, what I was trying to do was create a product with a high concentration of active ingredients that would deliver a result when you used it, but that wouldn't irritate the skin. So that really required using certain actives that I knew from my experience in clinic would be effective, but wouldn't cause issues. And also then looking at the science of combining various ingredients. And for me, the serum, I really wanted to put sort of my wish list of ingredients into one product. Because I think the other issue is, people just don't have the time for multi-step routines. They want a one product that's going to deliver everything. And, my serum is really the closest that I could get to that, because it's got peptides in it that help to stimulate collagen, that help soften fine lines and wrinkles. It's got hyaluronic acid in it, which hydrates the skin. And it's also got 4% niacinamide in it, which is great for, controlling sebum production, minimizing acne breakouts, and also helping, achieve an even skin tone. So it's got a lot of these really powerful active ingredients at the right concentration, and a good combination.
Right.
Yeah, everyone can benefit from this product because it just doesn't have any irritants in it. It is safe to use pretty much by everyone at all ages, all skin types, and it doesn't cause sun sensitivity. So some active ingredients like retinol, vitamin A, for example, can cause problems when people go out into the sun. So the other thing that I found was, what is an alternative to that kind of product? That was something I was being asked a lot. So that's the other thing that this serum does, is really provide an alternative for people who maybe live in hot climates or who are traveling, or even just for the summer period where they don't want to necessarily use a retinol or a vitamin A product.
That makes a lot of sense. That's really interesting. Actually, so one of the questions we had for you was, let's say a male consumer is just getting started with exploring a self-care routine, and they're specifically interested in better skin. Let's say they have either fine lines and wrinkles, or they have irritated skin, because often a lot of guys, they shave, and shaving is actually a fairly harsh way of exfoliating your skin, right? Even though it may not be the intention behind shaving, but it is definitely not something that every skin type absorbs well. It's a difficult thing especially even for me. I found shaving very difficult. But let's say we've just come across someone who's just getting started, male, doesn't really know very much. What would be your advice on how to get started, how to potentially even incorporate the serum that we just talked about, the Skin W1 serum, into their routine? One of the things I love about it, frankly, is that it's so simple. And actually, you're right. A lot of our customers tell us simplicity is what they want. So yeah, we're really interested to hear your advice as both a medical practitioner and an expert in the space on how to get started.
Right. So I think that's a great question. Definitely something I get asked a lot. And, even though the bulk of my practice is women, I get a lot of my patients, husbands, sons, brothers coming to see me. And, that's one of the commonest things I get asked is sort of, where do I start? How do I create a routine that's effective but simple? And I think number one is cleansing. I think we need to move away from shower gel in the shower or a bar of soap at the sink, and we need to use face wash that's designed for the skin and, isn't going to strip the skin. So using an appropriate cleanser is really important, because cleansing effectively is the first step to, a great skincare routine. If you cleanse effectively, you're removing surface debris and you're allowing the product that you apply afterwards to penetrate and to be absorbed more, in a more efficacious way.
Right.
So I think cleansing is step number one, and I do believe that men, and women, everyone should just get into the habit of washing their face morning and night.
Right.
Yeah. And then depending on skin type, men tend to have oilier skin. So a lot of men don't necessarily need moisturizer, but I think every morning, I think the best thing you can do is just put on some sunscreen, because sun damage and sun exposure leading to cumulative sun damage over many, many years is probably the number one cause of issues further down the line. So you're not going to see it in your 20s, probably not in your 30s either, but by your 40s or 50s, you're going to pay for the sun damage you incurred when you were younger.
Right.
So I think that would be the next thing I would say, to add into a routine is definitely sun protection. And then finally, in terms of treating your skin, that's where something like the Skin W1 Collagen Stimulating Serum comes in, because that's really easy to just put on at night after you've cleansed. And that's literally all you need. And because it's got some hyaluronic acid in it, it's not going to make your skin feel dry. You don't need to put moisturizer on top. My husband literally puts it on, one step and he's done. So I think that works really well for men and women alike. I just think people who want a no fuss routine, but they want something that's going to deliver results, it's a great product and easy to incorporate.
Fantastic. That was really easy, Ashley. But I do have one question about one of the things you said, which was wearing sunscreen and SPF. We often hear from customers, well, the sun isn't out, why should I wear sunscreen? What is your perspective as an expert? Why should we be wearing it every day? Wearing SPF even when it's either raining outside or not as sunny as you might think. You might have to wear SPF when you're at the beach, for example.
Right. So that's a great question. And I think it does confuse people. But what you need to remember is that the UV that comes from the sun, it splits into a number of different rays, and you have UVA and UVB. UVB, I'll start with, is responsible for sunburn. So that's the kind of strong sun that you get on a hot sunny day, or when you're abroad on the beach, you're getting a lot of UVB. Now, you might not get that very often in London, but what you get in London all the time is exposure to UVA. And UVA can come through the clouds, it can penetrate through glass, and UVA is what's responsible for low-level, long-term skin aging.
Gotcha. Okay.
So you actually get a lot of sun damage from UVA exposure over time. And so what you want to be using is a broad spectrum. So when we talk about broad spectrum sunscreens, that means that they protect you against UVA and UVB. And so that's an important thing to look out for on your SPF, because if you're just buying something that blocks UVB, then you're not going to be fully protected against the UVA, which causes a lot of, chronic sun damage.
Right. Okay.
Without you even realizing. So I think that's the thing people need to understand, is that, there's different types of UV, and the reason you want to wear sunscreen every day is you want to protect yourself against UVA damage.
Right.
And my preference is, generally speaking, for a mineral-based sunscreen, because they tend to cause the least irritation, and they're well tolerated by pretty much all skin types. Because the other common complaint I get with sunscreen is it either causes people to break out, or it causes them to look very white. So I think the technology has really progressed over the years, and now you can get things like invisible zinc, which is an invisible mineral-based sunscreen every day. So you want something specifically designed for the face, that's well formulated and feels nice to apply, so that you feel comfortable putting it on literally every morning, and you almost think of it like a moisturizer.
Okay, fantastic. Now, Ashley, the other thing that we keep getting asked a lot, Dr. Rabia, is that there are specific instances or situations that people face every day, and they're just kind of wondering what's the best way to tackle their grooming and self-care, especially skincare, in those situations. So I'm going to run you through a few situations, and love to hear your thoughts on how how to deal with your skin and what kind of products to use in these situations.
Sure.
With the hope that, as you rightly said, keeping things very simple, because that's another thing that a lot of our customers say. We just want to keep it simple, and that's great. So,
sure.
So the first question is, I think I know what your answer is going to be. I'll ask you anyway. I'm gonna go outdoors, and it's gonna be sunny and windy. What's the one advice? I think we just talked about it, but I'd love to hear it again.
Yeah, so definitely sun protection and a hat. I mean, I think if you're out, just remember prevention is better than cure. Treating sun damage is really hard work. I have patients every day in clinic who, are really upset about, pigmentation or, lines and wrinkles that are a direct consequence of chronic sun damage. So if you can prevent it, you're in good shape going forward.
Fantastic. Okay. The next situation is, someone's just finished a very hard workout. They've sweat a lot, and they've then just taken a hot shower at the gym. Anything that they should do right after that?
So first of all, I would say it's great to wash your face or have a shower immediately post-exercise, because you're getting the sweat off your body. And if the sweat sits on your body, you're much more likely to break out. So for anyone who has body breakouts or issues with that sort of thing, then, getting out of sweaty, wet gym clothes as soon as possible and having a rinse is really important. So that's great that they're doing that. However, I think just be careful with the temperature of the water, because having really hot showers is not necessarily a good thing for your skin. So first of all, you can really dry out your skin, but you can also cause broken capillaries. Capillaries are tiny, fine blood vessels at the surface of our skin. And when they break, you get little red spots. And extremes of temperature can contribute to that. And so I sometimes find that people who take, so that's something to just keep in mind, particularly if you have a lot of redness on your face, then try reduce the temperature of your shower slightly. But in terms of what to do when you get out of the shower, so I think that's a great opportunity to either put on, if you're going out, then, your one-step sunscreen, if that's like a moisturizer consistency, or if it's night, then I would just apply serum. And I think that's going to hydrate the skin and give you some active ingredients. So you're going to get some skin benefit.
Fantastic. And hopefully that'll be the Skin W1 serum. So that, because it's this simple all-in-one. Yeah.
Exactly. It's got everything you need.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. So the last situation is, you're going to have a big in-person client meeting the following morning. So again, what does one do the night before?
Right. So I think sometimes what can be really helpful is depending on your skin type or what you're concerned about, I find just doing some light exfoliation the night before a big event just makes skin look a bit more glowy, a bit more hydrated, a bit brighter. So, a light exfoliator the night before, and then you should wake up and your skin should look and feel brighter and smoother. And I would actually use the exfoliator, wash it off, depending on the product you're using, but then put the serum on top of that. Right. And that's going to really penetrate quite deeply, and you're going to get even more skin benefits from doing that. So ideally, I would say the Skin W1 collagen stimulating serum, but you can do that with pretty much any product that you have, exfoliation followed by some sort of hydrating product, and you're going to really see your skin looking brighter and feeling smoother. So that's nice for any events the next day.
Excellent. That makes a lot of sense. So before we close, Dr. Rabia, I just want to know, do you have any new products that are coming out?
So there are a few other products in the range, which we hope we will be able to get onto Humanery soon as well. So we do have a cleanser. Yeah. Yes, we do have a cleanser. We do have a moisturizer, and we have a facial oil. So, they're all part of the range. But, as I always say, if there's one product that you're going to start with, it should definitely be the serum. And that's really why, for me, the focus, and I always say to people, I don't expect you to buy everything in my range. I think often people already have a face wash they're using that they really like, or they have a moisturizer that they like. And I think that's totally fine. But I don't think there is another serum quite like mine. So I think that's the easiest thing to introduce into your routine. And then, if you want to try some of the other Skin W1 products, we'd love you to check them out. And, if the serum does well, hopefully we'll get them onto Humanery. In terms of developing new products, I have a pretty long list of things that I'd love to get out there. And unfortunately, I think it's a slow process, making a product from scratch, working with a lab. It just takes time, and then to test it and get it registered and onto the market, as it's a long process. And I think it will be really interesting to see, what people ask for. I am in the process of working on an eye cream.
Okay.
Because that's something my patients have been asking me for. Yep. But I have some other things that I really want to work on and launch. Things like an exfoliator, some masks. These are things that I think would be great additions to the Skin W1 range. But we'll just have to see how it goes.
No, absolutely, and we're very excited to see all the new products coming out in your range. Thanks so much for spending the time with us today. It is really good to have you on our show and to get all this amazing advice coming from a true expert in the field. We don't usually get this privilege, so thank you for that. And for all of you that are watching or listening to this episode, there is a one-time only discount of 10% on the Skin W1 products at Humanery. It's podcast 10 at checkout. We really do encourage you to try out this amazing serum that Dr. Rabia has just told us about. Hopefully you'll check it out. Dr. Rabia, thanks again for joining us today. Really appreciate it.
Oh, thanks, Sid. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for supporting Skin W1.
Absolutely. See you again soon.